The question that shattered the silence: why did Rowoon and Park Eun-bin choose Paris for their marriage? And not Korea? For days, the world has been struggling to grasp one truth. Not the fact that Rowoon and Park Eun-bin are together. Not even the fact that they chose to marry. But why Paris? Why a ceremony hidden beneath the winter sky of a foreign city, far from the cultural traditions, family blessings, and familiar landscapes of home? The answer, it turns out, is far deeper, more emotional, and more unexpected than anyone imagined. This is the untold story. The secret reasons. The quiet decisions made behind closed doors. And the fragile truth Rowoon and Park Eun-bin finally revealed, together. Hold on tight, C-Drama family. The world of your favorite celebrities is unfolding before your eyes, and every moment is more breathtaking than the last. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications right now, because trust me, you do not want to miss what's coming next. The first whisper of the news the world was not ready to shock began when a grainy, softly lit photograph leaked online. A picture of two silhouettes standing beneath the iron lattice of the Eiffel Tower. One tall, broad-shouldered figure. One elegant, slender figure in a pale coat. Hands intertwined. No stylists. No staff. Just two people looking like they had escaped the weight of an entire world. The world didn't believe it at first. Fans demanded confirmation. Paparazzi scrambled for angles. News outlets speculated wildly. But then the truth surfaced, slowly, carefully, through a statement whispered with vulnerability rather than glamour. Rowoon and Park Eun-bin were married. Not in Seoul. Not in Busan. Not in Jeju. But in Paris. The real reasons hidden under years of pressure. When the couple finally sat down together to address the world, Rowoon spoke first. His voice calm, but heavy with honesty. He said they needed air. Not fresh air. Not vacation air. But emotional air. Breathing room. The kind of air you can only find when you step away from the noise of a country that loves you deeply but watches your every movement like a spotlight that never turns off. For Rowoon, Korea was a home. But it was also a stage. A stage he'd been standing on for most of his life. And for Eun-bin, it was more than home, it was a battlefield of expectations. The pressure of perfection. The weight of dignity. The responsibility of being not just an actress, but a symbol of artistry. So when they decided to commit to each other forever, they wanted a moment untouched by cameras, news headlines, or public expectations. A moment that belonged only to them. Paris was not a whim, it was a promise they made years ago. What the world didn't know was that Paris held a secret. A memory. A promise whispered softly before either of them dared to imagine marriage. During a drama promotion years ago, they found themselves in the same hotel restaurant, long after the cameras had gone. They spoke, not about work, but about freedom. Dreams. The feeling of wanting to wake up one day and choose something for themselves, not for their careers. Eun-bin said, "What would your perfect day look like if no one knew you?" Rowoon answered after a long pause, "I think, just being with someone I love, somewhere far away, where no one knows my name." Eun-bin smiled. Lightly. Softly. And whispered, "Paris sounds like a place where people forget to care about celebrity." They laughed. It felt like a fantasy. Something impossible. Something impractical. But the seed was planted that night. A tiny, fragile wish. A dream shared quietly between two people who had never admitted how much they needed peace. The moment they decided to escape the night their lives changed. It wasn't fame that pushed them toward Paris. It wasn't pressure. It wasn't scandal. It was something much quieter. Much more personal. Eun-bin revealed the real turning point. She had been filming a project that drained her emotionally. Rowoon had been juggling schedules, constantly trying to appear strong, polite, composed. One night, after another exhausting day, she called him. He listened to her breathe more than he listened to her speak. And then he asked gently, "Do you want to run away for a while?" She laughed at first, But it wasn't a joke. He was serious. For the first time in their relationship, he revealed the raw truth. He didn't want their biggest life decision to feel like work. He didn't want their marriage to become a media event. He wanted it to be a moment of freedom, not performance. Eunbin understood instantly. She felt it too. The exhaustion. The longing for quiet. And that night, they made the decision. Paris. The city they once spoke of wistfully. The city where they could be Rowoon and Eunbin, not headlines, not brands, not ambassadors of perfection. The ceremony the world never saw, the moment that made Rowoon cry. They chose a small, hidden garden near the Seine. No decorations. No grand arch. No aisle lined with lights. Just winter roses. A small stone path. A violinist playing a soft, trembling melody. Eunbin wore a simple dress, elegant, quiet, nothing extravagant. And Rowoon, wearing a tailored black suit, looked at her like he had never seen anything more real in his life. When the officiant asked if they were ready, Rowoon took a moment, too long, almost too emotional, before answering. He later explained why. It was the first time in years he felt like he was choosing something for himself. Not for fans. Not for agencies. Not for reputation. But for his heart. And so he cried. A single tear. Barely visible. But enough to break Eunbin's composure too. They exchanged vows. Not poetic. Not rehearsed. Just honest. I choose you because you're my quiet place. I choose you because you make me breathe. I choose you because you know the real me. The final revelation why they hid it until now. When asked why they kept it secret, Eunbin answered with a truth that silenced every critic. We wanted to begin our married life as human beings before returning to the world as public figures. Rowoon added, Korea is our home. But Paris was where we could be ourselves. Just ourselves. In that moment, the reason became clear. They did not run from Korea. They ran toward freedom. Toward intimacy. Toward a life defined not by applause, but by peace. The question now echoing across the world: were they wrong to choose Paris? Or were they finally brave enough to claim happiness on their own terms? One thing is certain. Their choice wasn't scandal. It wasn't rebellion. It was love, quiet, gentle, and fiercely protected. And now, the world sees them not as celebrities losing control of their narrative, but as two human beings who reclaimed it. Their first stop, a place only locals know. Instead of choosing famous landmarks, Rowoon led Eunbin to a hidden cafe tucked between two aging buildings in Le Marais. He had discovered it years ago during a photo shoot. A place where the owner played old jazz records and served steaming cups of chocolate thick enough to drink like velvet. They sat in the corner by the fogged-up window. She rested her head lightly on his shoulder. He covered her hands with his. The cafe owner, not recognizing either of them, simply smiled at the sight of two people glowing in quiet, newlywed warmth. Later he told a friend, they looked like two people who had waited a long time to be this close. The unexpected trip to Italy, a secret they didn't plan to share on their second day as husband and wife, Rowoon woke Eunbin with a gentle whisper. Let's run a little further, just for us. Before noon, they were on a train to Italy. No entourage. No reservation. Just luggage small enough to pass as weekend bags and disguises subtle enough to let them blend into the world. In Venice, they found themselves sitting in a quiet gondola gliding between whispering canals. The water reflected the soft golden light of dusk. The air smelled of old stone and distant pastries. Rowoon watched Eunbin as the boat drifted. Noticed the way her eyes softened in the calm. Noticed the way her breath finally matched the rhythm of stillness instead of pressure. This place suits you, he murmured. She smiled. Only because I'm with you. The gondolier, listening quietly, later said it was one of the calmest rides he had guided in years. He described them simply, in love, but in a gentle way. Like two hearts that found their home.